While it may be cold outside, things are getting toasty warm at Global Voice Broadcasting. Heat up your winter nights with the hottest topics, the hottest celebrities, and today's best music. It's why Global Voice Broadcasting is becoming your 24/7 home for the music and talk you want right now. Discover your favorite shows and music anytime at globalvoicebroadcasting.com.
I highly recommend Ms. Hicks. Her books, her CDs are encouraging.
I bought her book, The Hill to Climb. She's a very inspirational speaker.
And I look forward to one day being able to work with her.
Your power lies within you. Let it loose.
Aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, determination. These are the keys of life success, brought to you by none other than award-winning author, motivational lecturer, business consultant, and much more as she gets you aimed to your purpose. And now, ladies and gentlemen, young and elder, from Hollywood to the entire world, here is your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Louise Hicks, along with her co-host, yours truly, Kennon Wesley Mason.
Hello, world. How's everybody today? Thank you all for joining us again. I'm Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, along with Kennon Wesley Mason.
Yes. I am your co-host, and welcome everyone from around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and anything else from around the world. We want to welcome all of you as today, once again, we are going international.
Yes, we are. We're going all the way to South Africa, and we have just a dynamic guest for you today. And we're going to talk about a very inspirational subject today, finding your feet and shoes in this world, discovering your purpose. Now, everybody wants to find their shoes, right? So you can put them on your feet, because feet are made for walking and shoes are made for feet. So we're not going to have Shamika Brown today for the community news, nor will we have Robert Snell, who is the sports therapy
He's
commentator.
our sports therapy host.
Yes. So what we're going to do today is just give you a great show and help you to find your shoes for your feet. And Shamika and Robert are out getting great news. So when we have our next show, and keep in mind, this is the last Monday in February 23rd,
Yes.
our last show of the month. Can't believe how this year is just going by.
Soaring by.
So fast.
Yes, and Shamika and Robert will be back to give you more community news, more sports therapy, and everything in between, as we do our best to give you the best and the most.
Yes, they'll be back the following week.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is jump right into our show. We have a Skyped-in guest from South Africa. We're going to read her bio, Miss Bridget Nkuna, a very, very inspiring, dynamic woman.
Yes. Bridget Nkuna is a mother, a marketing and communication specialist, a motivational speaker, and an agent for social change. She has worked in multi-industries, ranging from being head of the marketing and publicity department at United International Pictures, a film distribution company, heading up marketing and communications at Sun International, a hospitality company, and has also worked in petroleum companies, Total South Africa and British Petroleum. She has extensive experience in TV and radio broadcasting, having been trained by Radio France International in radio journalism and had a current affairs program at Voice of Soweto, a community radio station, and been a TV continuity presenter on SABC2. Bridget is a social entrepreneur, the founder of Owami Women, an initiative of platform for communication, networking, information sharing, and empowerment amongst women. She is committed to the development and empowerment of women and to seeing women's rights being equal and honored in society. A motivational speaker who has been invited to speak at many notable events, and an astute, dynamic, proactive, and diligent marketing and communication specialist who headed up the team that researched the now payoff line for South Africa, inspiring new ways, and directed the subsequent advertising strategy of the Brand South Africa campaign that launched the payoff line. So let's welcome let's give a warm aim to purpose welcome to our special guest for this edition, Bridget Nkuna.
Hello, Bridget.
Thank you.
How are you?
Bridget, are you there?
I'm fine. I am here. Yes, I am.
Hi, Bridget. We are so glad to have you. Welcome to Aim to Purpose, the radio show. And we're just looking forward to you talking with us about finding your feet and shoes in this world, discovering your purpose. And we know that's what Aim to Purpose is all about, helping everyone to discover their purpose, finding out who they are, and that is for aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, and determination to pursuing urgently realistic potential opportunities successfully envisioned. That's what purpose is all about. And we are going to talk to you about how to find that fire, because you're saying you have a statement here that you have got to go through a life preparation process in order to find your feet and shoes in this world. So how do we find that fire to get that passion going?
Oh, wow, Louise and Gabe, and thank you, everybody, for that wonderful welcome. And indeed, a big honor for me to be talking to you guys. Absolutely aligned with what you guys do over there. In searching for the purpose, bringing out what is best about ourselves, finding that fire within ourselves. And how do we do that? The thing about it is that a lot of people search for the fire, want the fire, look for the fire, but they look at the wrong places. So they look at everything else around themselves, outside themselves, and while the purpose and the fire is inside. So how are you going to land on your feet and your shoes if you don't have your fire on and if you don't know where to look for your fire? That's the challenge, and that's what's interesting to talk about today. The fact that people will, towards the end of every year, come up with a vision and a mission and a dream and something that they hope for, and get to the next year, and it's the second week or third week, and they still are looking at something, because they haven't really bothered to do the homework, and the homework is not outside yourself. Homework is inside of yourself. So that's going to be very interesting to talk to you about, because it's just to say to everybody, we have got all of the making from when we were born innate in us to become, to find, to land in our feet. And the question is, where are we looking?
That's right. That's right. And I love how you phrase that. You did it with intention, and that's what we have to do. We have to live with intention. We have to be consciously aware, and we know we have that such subconscious as well. And I love something else you've said here. We've all landed. Those of us we are still here. We've landed in 2015, and yet you have a hangover from 2014 and 2013 for some of us, and some of us can go even further back on where we are and where we've landed, and the years before then, as you say, but you still haven't found what you're looking for, which is you. So how do we find you, the self, the person, us? That's who we need to find.
Correct, Louise. And I think what's important to realize is finding yourself requires some element of commitment from yourself to finding yourself. So how are you going to find yourself without committing to that process, or to some sort of process, or to a journey into the self, into within, to find yourself? So, there's a lot of there's a lot of people who will go, I dreamt of becoming. So this was when I was young, when I was a little girl. And in 2013, I was hoping to achieve this. In 2014, I was aiming to achieve this. And it still hasn't come. And I'm really so heartbroken or disheartened, or life isn't fair to me. But the question is, have you really made a commitment? Did you intentionally make a commitment to go after that search? And when you make a commitment to finding that, to make the search, it doesn't take long to realize that it's all in here. So what am I finding out about myself, my strengths, or my lack thereof, or my weaknesses, or the things about me that are amazing or not amazing? And what am I willing to commit to do about them? Because it's not an easy process. I always say to people, as people work on everything else, it's easy for you to wake up tomorrow morning and say, my car's not right, taking it to the garage to be serviced, or my whatever it is has got that quick solution, or the logical solution. But the work on the self is the harder work. And that is the work that requires the most commitment and intentionality, because that's when you find who you are. That's when you land in 2015 and you go, aha, I found what my fire is. I found what it is that I'm supposed to be doing with my life, or my purpose, or at least I'm at the brink of finding it out, and I'm excited for it, And so it removes that the distance between the dream and the reality. It becomes something that is actually, I could achieve this.
Yes.
It's doable because I've now found out myself.
Yes,
myself.
you're so right.
I'm in the process of becoming.
Yes, you are so right, because commitment, when you commit to something, you have to commit with intention, because that's how you get your results, is by committing with intention. And I like the way you so eloquently phrased your commitment with intention, because we must live with intention and prepare for the experiences. We don't know what experiences we're going to have, so every experience really prepares us for living with purpose. So how do we prepare, or do we prepare to live with purpose? Or is it the experiences that we have that really prepares us to live with purpose?
Like you said, now every experience leads us to what our purpose and the intention of our being here is. The question is, the first thing that you need to have is a relationship with God, and then the second relationship you need to have is with yourself. As I said initially, the work always that people do is external work. I can have friends, or I can, look searching for themselves outside themselves. So one of the first things in order for you to start moving towards this experience, or actually being able to internalize whatever moment that you're going through as an experience, is to have a relationship with yourself, and then have a relationship with the higher self, the higher being, which is God. Those two relationships are very critical. They're not even equated, because the relationship with God is the relationship with Source. It's the relationship. It's the ultimate relationship. But what that relationship does, it reminds you of grace. It reminds you that certainly there was that moment where you came in from the water world, of being internally, groomed, incubated in your mother's tummy, to come out, and then you breathed. And in that moment, there's not a thing that you have done, but the source gave that life to you. Now, the source could have chosen many other different things to do at that very moment, but you were given that moment for a purpose. And when you connect to that very reality, it's actually understand that, actually, you know what? I might feel this little, this small, like an ant, but the reason why I arrived at that very moment was bigger than myself, was bigger than anything else around me. So actually, if I can't embrace myself with love, certainly there's a higher force that embraced me with love and that cares for me, has carried me from every moment before I was born to here.
And
So
I
that's
like that,
the
Bridget, that you
relationship
just
with
said, excuse me a moment, but you said you embrace yourself with love, and that love from a higher source embraces you even when you don't embrace yourself with love, because that's the key to it, is
Absolutely.
loving yourself and finding yourself in that relationship with God. And I like when we have to have a relationship with ourselves to have that relationship with God, as you're saying here, and learn to embrace and love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else? That's
Absolutely.
that's really bold, and I call it my GPS system. And it's like a road map, because you get guided by that GPS, and I call it a GPS because I look at it as my God-powered system, which helps me to create that relationship with God. So I see that as being empowering as well as powerful, and it's boldness within you, because as you said, we have to look within. And so often we look outside of ourselves to find a solution to get us through what we look at as difficulties in life, when I see difficulties really as opportunities in life. And often we don't see it that way.
Yeah, most people never look at their lives or look to themselves as the answer. You are the answer. Too many people have, like you said, you have we're in 2015, but too many people still have the hangover from previous years, trying to figure out where they went wrong last year, where they went wrong the previous year, versus thinking about how they can make things better as the years going forward.
And we go all the way back. Some of us never come out of 10, 15 years back. And how can you find that passion, and how can you allow that fire to burn and that flame to burn within you to bring out the best in you, and have that relationship with God? Because I believe if you have that relationship with God, you will let go of the fears that hold you back. So expound on that a little bit more, Brenda. I like how you are phrasing this.
You know, the best way to put it for me is that old adage that gets said all around the time, which says, "Fall and the grace will catch you." You know,
fall and the grace will catch you. Fall and the grace will catch you. I like that.
Yes. And that's exactly that. That's exactly that. That's you going back to your GPS system. I like that, by the way.
Thank you.
My mom, you'll come to find out that my mom is turning into the acronym queen.
Yes, because along with that GPS, I have some more like my DNA. And that's my divine natural ability. I believe we're all born with that. I am the acronym queen, I guess. So I think we are born with all of those.
I absolutely love that. It's amazing. I'm coining that GPS system.
There you go.
I'm taking it with me. I'm taking it in my suitcase, Louise. I'm loving that.
Yes.
But I'm also equally loving the divine natural ability, because it is exactly what we're talking about right now. It's tapping into that. You were born with it. It's innate.
Yes.
You know, it's not outside yourself, like we say. So how are you going to land into 2015, and yet you haven't got your GPS system correct? You know, or you are so afraid to connect with that GPS system because, you know, let's grant it, you are going to fall off the system a little bit. You'll get lost.
Yes.
You will take the wrong turns. This is life. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a manual. I think the most important thing is realizing that there is that navigation system that God has given us to get us back into His grace.
Yes.
To get us back covered again into that alignment with Him. And that you don't have to do it by yourself. That's the most amazing thing about it, though. It's not the work of how good you were today, or how socially correct or religiously correct you are. It's a matter of saying, I understand that I'm here for a greater purpose. Mr. God, GPS system, please, I need you to guide me. I need you to hold me, because I can't hold myself.
Yes,
Right.
That's exactly it. And often we beat ourselves up, and what we're going to do, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this thing called failure that people see as failure, when really I look at it as opportunities to grow and expand your life. So let's take a break, and Bridget, we'll be right back.
Hey folks, it's Ken here. If you or someone you know around the world has a small business, organization, or foundation you'd like to share with the Aim to Purpose audience, showcase it here on our segment of the show called Small Business Monday. The opportunities for people around the world to browse, buy, and use your products and services are endless. We pre-screen all businesses, organizations, and foundations for legitimacy, but because this is a free community service brought to our audience, it's at no cost to you as well. You heard it right. It's absolutely free, and you don't have to pay one penny. How do you like that? You just come on down to the studio and tell the story of your business, organization, or foundation, and give it the praises and accolades you know it deserves. If you're in another part of the state or country, or if you're in another part of the world, you can easily call in or Skype in and do the same. So what are you waiting for? Contact the show's publicist, Shamika Brown, at www.divinebrownmedia.com. She can also be contacted at 1-818-533-8463. Or contact Louise Hicks at www.louisehicks.biz. She can also be contacted at 1-562-310-1495. Allow yourself to be seen by the global masses, and allow your business to shine and grow because of the global masses. It's Small Business Monday, courtesy of Aim to Purpose, the radio show.
Hello, world. We are back. Again, I'm Louise Hicks of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, along with my co-host, Kennon Wesley Mason, and we are Skyping all the way into South Africa. We have a very dynamic guest on that's talking about your feet
and
shoes, and how you discover your purpose, because we know these, like I said at the top of the show, the feet are made for walking and the shoes are made for feet. And that's what we've been talking about. And Bridget has really enlightened us and shared some very, very transformational information with us to help us to transform our lives and find out who we are and find out how to bring that passion out, bring that fire out of us, because we all have it. We were born with it. It's through our DNA and through our God-powered system. We just have to let it take hold and do what it's supposed to do and stop worrying about things, because
let it loose.
As I say, your power lies within you, and you must let it loose. So we were talking about getting that fire and that passion going, and how some people allow failure of one thing to just destroy them. They go into despair, and I mean, it's okay to go into despair, but you need to learn how to come out of it. So let's talk a little bit about that, Bridget, and how failure, why we shouldn't beat ourselves up just because we do fail in life, and those challenges can be turned into opportunities.
And really quick, you mentioned here, it says, be gentle and kind to yourself when you seem to fail. Because too many people, look at failure as the ultimate negative, and there is nothing after that, or they feel like because they failed, there is no other opportunities, and the more failures keep happening and more people keep coming into their lives that will create failure. It's a matter of thinking, or it's a matter of how you perceive failure, correct?
It is absolutely that. It is how you perceive the failure that actually determines whether you stay there or come out of there. I think earlier on, Louise, you mentioned that you see failure as an opportunity to grow. And it is indeed exactly that. It is the gift that experience gives you to grow. It is actually the presence that without it, you would not be able to grow. So failure is necessary, unfortunately. Now, whether we want to agree with that or believe it or not, because it's easier for us to think of our lives as perfect, of ourselves as perfect, and things going well, to have that utopian understanding of life, than to actually be gentle and kind with ourselves, to understanding that sometimes you will fail, sometimes you will take the wrong turn. Sometimes things will happen. In fact, often things happen that you don't believe, or you're not hoping for. But therein is the gift. There is where the grace is, because it doesn't finish you, it doesn't kill you. It makes you feel certain things, hopelessness, despair, whatever that feeling may be. But generally, if you really take a hard look in the mirror, you're still standing.
Yes, you are.
So
yes, you are.
You are, and you still. Then there needs to be a process of rewiring your mind. And the process of rewiring your mind, I think, only takes place if you're able to have moments of self-reflection. If you're able to reflect on moments and say, you know what, that was really bad. Like you say, it's okay to feel despair. It's okay for you to feel not okay, about things. But very quickly after that, you need to go into an area where you go, so what's the deal here? All right?
Yes.
That didn't work out very well. Why?
Right.
And if why doesn't even come up, the fact is, look in the mirror, you're still standing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and having that, but one of the things that are very, very funny about us human beings, that it's very difficult to practice self-love and gentleness and forgiveness, and because if you cover yourself and clothe yourself with self-forgiveness and understand that you are only but God's child, our children, when we have them, fall. Our children fall, and our children will bump their heads elsewhere. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And guess what? We will pick them up, and we will dust them off. And we will tell them it's okay, keep going. So why are we able to do that for our children?
Yes.
For others.
Yes.
But we cannot do that
not for ourselves.
It's,
exactly.
And that's so amazing. And I like what you said, Bridget, when you said why. Ask yourself why. Because when you ask yourself why and you start reflecting, like you said, it gives you an opportunity for clarity. And as you get clarification on the why, that helps you to move forward. And the experience you have can be a gift to you to help you to understand and to clarify, because failure, we all are going to have challenges, no matter what, no matter who we are, how wealthy we are, how poor we are, in between, whatever. There will be challenges as long as you live in life.
Yeah.
But it's what our perception is of those challenges. And I like what you said. Ask yourself why and see about getting clarity so that you can move forward and see it as a gift, that experience, and preparing you for life's lessons and how you can move forward with your life and expand your life with magnificence and the bliss that goes along with living.
Yeah, too many people globally, but I mean here in America, and other abroad, many people don't see the beauty in our failures or our errors in life. We see disappointment and take it to a whole nother level of emotional discouragement. We put ourselves down, and I like what I like how you mentioned about how we teach our children to do these things, but along the way, we seem to get further and further away from the very things that we've taught our children, because when they learn how to ride the bike, they are going to fall. And we do tell them to get back up, do it again, until you have perfected, riding the bike or writing with your pencil or whatever we teaching the children how to walk and things of this nature. We always guide them and help them, but as we get older in life or as we experience certain things in life, we look at our experiences as the mishaps of the experiences of life. We look at them as awful things of nature that we feel like we can't turn around, and time gives us the opportunity to turn things around, because that's all we have.
And as Kennon said, that is how you become a master at whatever you're doing. And if something is not working right, you have to keep working until you perfect it. And that's how you do become a master. And Kennon is right about that, because Kennon has my first grandchild, and she's just turned 6 months old. And he and her mother, they are really learning a lot from her. And so am I, because I see how she perceives the world.
Right.
And it's amazing how children have these perceptions, and you can see it at such a young age, how they're so smart and how they pick up on things, but they don't stop. They just keep going because they don't let anything bother them. And that's what we got to start doing in order to be able to master whatever our purpose is and whatever we are pulling out. Pull it out. And I have another acronym which I call my IONA, and that's that intuitive, operative, natural ability that we all are born with. Some call it that intuition or gut feeling or whatever, but I call it my IONA, and I add that to my IT, that it thing, that internal trainer, because we do have an internal trainer that guides us along with that GPS system. God has really just given us the divine within us to move our lives forward.
Bridget, would you say that many of us get this kind of thinking from influences that have molded and shaped our life into failure thinking habits or things of that nature? Would you agree with that it's the outside influences? Most people go to the outside of themselves to look for all the answers versus looking within.
Bridget, are you there?
Looks like we might have a slight disconnection. Yeah, I think we've lost her. We're going to try to
we have lost Bridget. So what we're going to do is try and get Bridget back, and we're going to go ahead and show this clip.
Yes.
Of Steve Jobs talking, and then we're going to see if we can get her back, because we are Skyping into South Africa, and sometimes we do have technical difficulties. Yes. But we're going to go ahead and show you a clip here of passion and success from Steve Jobs' perspective, the late Steve Jobs, I should say, the Apple founder.
Yes, so let's look at this clip and let's see if we can get Bridget back on the line.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard. And you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up, being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society, and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion. And I think that's the high order bit. The second thing is you've got to be a really good talent scout, because no matter how smart you are, you need a team of great people, and you've got to figure out how to size people up fairly quickly, make decisions without knowing people too well, and hire them, and see how you do, and refine your intuition, and be able to help build an organization that can eventually just build itself, because you need great people around you.
All right, and that was the Steve Jobs giving his interpretation of success, and he mentioned about love what you do and do what you love, and also having a great team in your corner.
Yes, support, because as you had mentioned before, Bridget, we don't do this alone. We have to go within ourselves. However, having others around us, and success. Steve Jobs, the late founder of Apple, I love what he said, because he said, as Kennon said, love what you do. It could be hard work, but hard work does pay off. And one thing he said was how it creates a lot of worry. And that's something that we really don't want to do. We don't want to worry a lot about things, because we know what worrying can do. It's not healthy for you. So it's good not to worry.
And really quick, we do have Bridget back on the line. We did have a little technical difficulty. And Bridget, before the technical difficulty, I was asking you, what do you believe that it is outside influences that create people's negative thinking or failure thinking? Because so many times we kind of feel like we need to go to outside sources, but the outside sources are the very sources that kind of keep us in bondage from ourselves.
Absolutely. I don't think that it's actually outside forces that keep us in bondage. It's ourselves that do that.
Okay. Okay.
It's how we perceive things.
Yes.
It's how you're looking at failure, for instance, and you're not renewing your mind, or you're not focusing on the gift that moment brings you. So, hello.
Yes. We're here.
Hello.
Yes, I agree with you.
So it's not a matter of external forces are to be blamed, because they're going to be there. They should not determine your course.
Right.
The course should be determined by yourself. In as much as things happen to you, the one thing that one needs to realize is that it's taking responsibility.
Yes.
For themselves. It is taking ownership and saying, I admit I failed, or I admit I erred, or I underestimated something, because that's the only way that you can then re-estimate it again.
Right, right.
That's the only way that you can then take another, a shot at it, now with a purpose and with an understanding of how you can manifest it,
Right. Because you can't...
Or at least having taken the lesson from the behind, from what happened.
Right.
Hello?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Because we can't control what happens in the outside world. All we can do is control or how we respond to what happens in the outside world, and control how we navigate through the world. Correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Yes.
That's it. But we're not alone in this world. That's the next thing.
Right.
So we're not born islands. Otherwise, we'd be operating in the internal sort of space alone.
There has to be a healthy balance between what's happening in our internal as well as the external.
Right.
You know.
That's right.
And the external sometimes mean tapping into guidance. Reaching out where it's possible, learning, taking learning from observation, of what other people are going through, learning from making a conscientious effort not to blame, but to take and learn from your teachers when they appear, from your friends, from your family, from the situation itself, and understanding that you can choose to take the positive out of that moment or the negative, but the choice ultimately is yours.
That's right.
The external is there to present you with the road, with this ability to conquer, the ability to remain standing, the ability to actually land on your feet, and even give you the confidence to put on your shoes.
That's right.
Because the situation itself did not devour you or eat you up. You learned from it. You experienced it. Yes, you admit all the things that you experienced that were maybe negative, but guess what? You also are a conqueror or a victor because of that situation having presented itself. There is no way that you would have known those things about yourself. There is no way that you have known that you would have known your sense of resolve or ability if that situation had not showed up, or if that person had not showed up, or if that challenge had not been.
That's right, because right here in number 8, you explain everyone is your teacher along the journey to the self, the process. There will be people who come into your life to teach you about you.
Yes, so
Yes.
true,
I like
Bridget.
that.
I like that too, Bridget. So
That's
true.
right.
I like that.
Go ahead, Bridget. And something else, could you
It's such a truth. And also, external also doesn't mean, external can be so positive. I mean, external can be the unit that you need to grow and thrive in. External can, but I will not stop overemphasizing that it's how you're going to be attuned to what's happening around you. It's how you're going to be awoken to that moment that makes you actually appreciate that external factor. So external is needed. External
Yes.
is required. So let's not discount external. It should never. It's actually a necessary process. It's necessary to your process. But understanding that it all comes back to that resolve, to that knowing that within you were born with everything. If I love because I'm a mother. I always reflect on how I was expectant with my children. Then these human beings showed up, and I never knew when they would lose their teeth, or when they would walk, or when they would run, but it happened, and it happened because it's part of the DNA. It's part of the divine natural ability, Louise, that you speak about.
Yes, I agree.
Part of knowing.
Yes.
The GPS.
Yes.
It's the GPS,
Wow,
And when you
Bridget's
trust
catching
it,
on,
I
huh?
love it, Bridget, how you're catching on to the acronyms from the acronym queen here. And you said balance, and that is so important because as a child growing up, that's what we were always taught, that you need to have balance in your life. And we do need those externals. However, we know that power lies within. And something else you said, a renewing of our minds on a daily basis, because we do have that renewing of our minds daily, and that's what helps us to expand. What if we didn't? We would stay stagnant. So I love how you expounded on that. And it's something else you said here in the document that you sent. You said that we need to recognize where you end and where God begins. And that is profound.
Yes.
So expound upon that.
Louise, it goes back to that relationship that I spoke to that you need to be able to actually get to understanding yourself and your sense of purpose, and therefore being able to find your feet. That is the primary relationship. That's a relationship that allows you to feel carried by something much bigger, more important than yourself, to be part of a bigger unit, to actually be served by, you are in the master's hands. You are in the potter's hands when you have a relationship with God. You do not have to fear. And when fear represents itself, you know where to go and take it and leave it. You know how to work around the things that are frightening you, because you're not on your own. You're not relying on your little power.
That's
or
so
your,
true.
Or your own understanding, because your own understanding is very limited.
Oh yeah.
It's limited, which makes me say, the point where I said to you that understand that the purpose is far much more bigger than you can ever perceive. It's greater than you, because if you could really package it into a box, you will be missing out on a lot. You will be missing out on the grandness of the purpose. The purpose is not even to save you. It's for the world. It's
Right.
for God. It's for others to tap into. It's for you to grow as in terms of maturity. That would tap into the fact that it's not good enough to say I've got a talent or a sense of purpose. You've got to work at it, plow at it every day, nurture it like you would a flower, because it would die or get derailed.
Yes,
or
it
you will
would.
just lose a sense of stay on power,
Yes, and I like that when you said you have to nurture it, and you need to nurture that purpose and that gift, all these gifts that we are given, and we allow ourselves to derail those gifts because we put the limitations on ourselves of feeling we're not good enough. And I like that part you said. We feel sometimes I'm not good enough. And what is it you're not good enough for? We're all made in God's image. So why would you not be good enough? You're just as good as the next person, since all of us, we're all made in the image of God. And we have that personal relationship.
Yeah. And that makes that relationship the ultimate relationship.
It is the ultimate. It is the ultimate relationship. There's a universal intelligence that holds all knowledge. Our understanding is limited until we go on that quest for that universal knowledge or intelligence. We all have it within us. Many of us choose not to go to the very place where all the answers have always been. We're so focused on everything outside of us instead of looking within and having that relationship with that universal intelligence, whether you call it God, the creator, the universe, it's all the same. It's a universal intelligence that we all have access to.
Yes, we do, Bridget. And I have these elements to aim to purpose because we must have a vision. That's part of the renewing of the mind that you talked about. I believe we have to have vision. We have to have hope. We have to have faith. We have to have knowledge. And most importantly, we must take action, because information is powerful when used in a positive way. It can become non-powering when we use it in a negative way. So I believe in using that action in such a positive way until it aids in humanity, bringing us together in love, bringing us together in peace, in joy, in happiness. And all of that vision, hope, faith, knowledge, and action can bring us together. How we are able to Skype in across the world and talk to you. And guess what? In speaking with you, we find that we do share commonality.
We're all connected.
We're all connected because listen at all the things you're saying and what we're saying. That's that that godly connection, because we are all created in the image of God, or what universe, creator, however you want. We're all connected, and we're connected in this humanity together. And I just like how you had put that, where how we need to use gentle and kindness. And Ken had mentioned that before, the gentleness, the kindness, and the self-love that we need to impart to ourselves, and how faith is all about believing in yourself. Because when you believe something, it can certainly manifest itself. What are your thoughts on that, Bridget?
Absolutely. You know, your belief is that very key to your freedom. It's what guides you, and the more you believe, the more it will manifest. The more you believe, the more of what you're looking at or thinking of or harvesting in your spirit will manifest. And it works both ways. You know, when you're believing for good, good happens. When you're believing for bad, or you're spending a lot of the time in the negative,
Bridget.
Negative happens. My mother, when I was a child, used to say, she used to caution us a lot about the music that we would listen to, you know. Hello?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, we had a little bit of more technical difficulty there, but go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying that when I was a child, my mother used to be very strict about content of music we listened to, and things that we read or expose ourselves to. But she'd say the reason is very simple. It's that which you believe, that which you focus on manifests, my children. You know, it does. If you spend your time eating up God's word, or life-giving words, or planting life-giving, seeds, you will reap exactly that.
That's right.
But if you spend your time in sort of a spirit grieving messaging, thought processes, that's exactly what you'll also reap.
Absolutely.
So we read things like The Secret and all sorts of things that back up what we're saying now, which is that more of what you desire, more of what you realize, or more of what you want is realized by your own belief.
Right.
By what you are hoping for because your energy ultimately goes there. Your body, your cells, your physique, everything. Your spirit
That's
goes
right.
there. That which your mind, where your mind is going, and where your emotional being goes. So it's very important for us to have that. It brings us to self-control, because when you a lot of things are very excitable and exciting. They are juicy, even if I can use that word.
Yeah.
They represent themselves to us, and quite enticing. So and enticing in the beginning, because for me, the acid test of anything is that it needs to really bring me pure joy. If it starts to grieve my spirit and it doesn't feel right, even if it's just a notion of that feeling right, I listen and I watch. And I want to understand exactly why there's that discomfort. The discomfort might not be even a big thing. Maybe I just need to operate at a different frequency to myself to be able to. Maybe I'll take something that is important, but a bit too light, and therefore it's that wakening up. But the minute I have that nudging feeling about anything, I self-reflect. Why does this feel uncomfortable in my spirit? Why does this feel uncomfortable in my body?
Right.
And that's what we need to do, because that is what God is. He's not going to come down every time and say, "Hey, Louise, stop what you're doing," or "Bridget, this is where you're supposed to be going." He's given us the cardinal point, the directional points in our spirit, in our hearts, and you put it so eloquently with the GPS system. It's exactly that. When the GPS system is there and you're connected to it, it's that thing that will lead you more of south, and south is the best place or bad place, or the other way around. And you need to be staying in that spirit and that reverence area where you can go, hang on a minute, this is feeling this way, and if I need to just maybe self-check, check my oil, check this, and see how to proceed. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And that timing on things has to do with some people worry about timing of things, and we should have effortless, not even consume ourselves with the timing of something, because it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. Do you think so?
Amen. I think when I put it across, it's as simple as what's always being said, that delay is not denial. Sometimes we beat ourselves up for not getting those things that we've been faithful, we've been persevering, we've prayed, we've planted the seed, but where is it?
Right.
Why is that tree not growing when I'm looking so at it at that particular spot, and it's not that thing that I'm looking for, wanting is not materializing? Why am I not becoming that thing? Why am I not growing even? But the truth is that it's not going to happen in your own time. And the sooner one makes peace with that, the more you just fall into that effortless grace, that effortless area of understanding that it's not going to be through your might, it's not going to be through your hardcore knowledge and education and BAAACC degree, and it's just going to be at God's time.
Really quick, in the few minutes that we have left, tell our audience about Owami Women. Explain that and where we can find that on the internet.
Okay, so Owami Women is the organization that I founded in 2010, and really when it started was born out of my own sense of need as a woman, as a woman becoming a mother. I had lost my mother 2 weeks before I had my first child, and ever since then I had this feeling that somehow I had wished my mother had encapsulated all of the wisdom and knowledge and experience that was so effortless that I witnessed her having, but there was none of that. It was gone. A lot of it I didn't realize that I had learned by sight and learned by observation. But still, that sense of loneliness and sense of isolation was quite severe for me. So I then thought, if I'm feeling like this, there must be a whole lot of other women who feel like this in the world, and somehow that was then. I had my child in 2002. And it was a movement of time. I just remember one day being in my car, and it just came to me that this is the time. This is just right. You are emotionally, spiritually grounded for it now. You were not then when you felt the way that you did, but this is now the time. And immediately when I felt like that, the name Owami came to me. Owami means my own. My own individuality, my own womanhood, my own being, my own femininity, which I claim, and do not be afraid to be your own, but we can be our own together, we can be together. So, and it's not even in my language, it's actually a Zulu word, Owami. I'm in our country, Tonga, so the different tribe. But so I knew that there's no way I would have thought about that name just for myself,
I like that. You owned it.
And go ahead and give us that, because we're running out of time. Go ahead and give us the website where we can find more about the Owami Women's organization.
So you can go to www.owamiwomen.co.za.
Okay.
And you can reach us on Facebook. We are Owami Breakfast for Women with Deep and Meaningful Conversations. And or else you can reach out to me, myself, Bridget Nkuna, and I normally connect people forward to the other page, the group itself.
Yes.
And women have wonderful conversations daily, encouragement. It's simple, something, it's a soft thing. If it's not hardcore sales, people always undermine things. But just, the word of encouragement, sisterhood, reverence together, fellowshipping, it's amazing. So, yeah, I think that's the best way to reach out to me. I'm on a global level. I think if people can just find Bridget Nkuna on Facebook, or Owami Breakfast for Women with Deep Meaningful Conversations, or the website itself, www.owamiwomen.co.za.
All right. And with that, we definitely have to wrap it up.
Yeah,
we want
to wrap it up.
We want to thank you, Bridget Nkuna, for being our special guest on Aim to Purpose, the radio show. We would love to have you back in the future.
Yes, Bridget, thank you so much. And you have shared so much wonderful information. And we'll give out that site again. Would you say it again, Ken? And spell it out.
Yes, it's owamiwomen.co.za. Owami, O-W-A-M-I, women, O-W-O-M-E-N.
OWAMI-WOMEN.co.za.
Yep.
And also Bridget Nkuna, BRIDGET NKUNA on Facebook, and the Women's Breakfast Group also on Facebook. Hear that one more time. Say that breakfast group one more time.
It's Owami Breakfast for Women with deep and meaningful conversation.
Yeah. Owami Breakfast for Women. Yeah, we'll definitely get that up for our audience to listen to.
Yes,
we want to thank you, and
we do apologize for the technical difficulty that we had in Skyping in with Bridget, but we still had a great conversation. And with that being said, thank you for watching and listening. And until next week, just remember, your power lies within you. Let it loose.